in a way, it's amazing to me because you'd seen the brutality of this movement all these years, but still October the 7th shocked you.
The scale of the attack and the documented attacks. Let's say
the fact that they wanted to record their crime.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Clevy and it is so nice to meet you. You guys, we have a very interesting video before us today, and this is an interview conducted, by Douglas Murray and a Reformed Hamas militant, and of course shout out to the Free Press for hosting this interview. You guys, this is titled Reformed Hamas Militant Speaks Out the Truth. If you're ready, let's get started.
You're probably one of the very few people who would have seen what Hamas did on October the 7th, and as well as being appalled, would not have been surprised.
Honestly, I was surprised.
You were?
I was surprised. Not by Hamas brutality, by the scale of the event, because to move from door to door and just kill everything, animal, human, infant, whatever came your way, innocent people, that includes foreign workers, that includes dogs, that includes life, everything. And by a bunch of savages, filming the whole thing as they are in a big party.
The glee.
Yeah, or something, whatever it is, the terminology, it really was shocking to see.
It's in a way, it's amazing to me because you'd seen the brutality of this movement all these years, but still October the 7th shocked you.
The scale of the attack and the documented attacks. Let's say
the fact that they wanted to record their crimes.
That everything was just streamed live or recorded
GoPro
in time. There was no suicide bombing attack that I did not see the fresh photos of the scene. And I'd say could be the ugliest thing any human being could see or smell. And every time, and dozens of those suicide bombing. And it's the ugliest thing. So it's not that I was not familiar with Hamas brutality and what they were capable of creating and the destruction. But this one, you see them moving, you see them speaking, you see them enjoying it. They rejoice in the death of so many innocent, defenseless people, in people's living rooms, enjoying beverages from their kitchen, while the children are mourning the death of their parents just next door. There is no human language that can describe the evil that took place on October 7th. And that's not just a war crime. It's not just killing. It's a genocide by all standards. And to see such a genocide, but nobody's talking about it. This is where it struck me, that actually at that time Israel did not even build its case. And I think it's a Jewish trauma that does not want to accept that actually the enemy was able to execute another genocide on our watch, and we could not stop it. And I think this is part of the guilt, that Israel is actually not telling the truth of what happened to them. That's like part of it is the shame or the guilt, and I totally understand. Sometimes you can be a victim and you prefer to actually not share it with anyone because you become vulnerable and people take advantage. And actually that could ignite the bloodlust in many others that actually enjoy the stories of killing, enjoy the stories of rape, enjoy the stories of destruction. That's actually going to encourage them to do more. Just like a beast smells blood and the bloodlust is ignited in the beast. And I was speaking to the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations and telling him, this is a genocide, what you went through, what your country went through. You know, we have to build the case. This is not just a terrorist attack. And it's still, until now, Israel is not making its case publicly.
Let me ask you, as we wrap up, I remember speaking with you almost 10 years ago now, after a set of attacks in France, in Paris. There was the Charlie Hebdo attacks, the attack on a kosher supermarket, then the attacks when dozens of jihadists rampaged through Paris, massacred people at the Bataclan Theatre and the stadium and coffee shops. And I remember then asking you about, you know, what does it take for the West to wake up to this reality? Because, I mean, you're aware of this reality because you grew up in it and you saw it firsthand, and you were a very unusual person in thinking your way out of it, which, I mean, is incredibly unusual. I would say that most Israelis today understand the reality that there's a group or groups of people who say, we want to kill you, and if they get the opportunity, they do. But the rest of the West seems to me, even all these years after we spoke about it, still is in a sleep. What would you say to Emmanuel Macron, Rishi Sunak, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris? What would you say to them to communicate to them that this is real?
One of the biggest contributors to terrorism and violence actually hypocrites. Because when we are hypocrites, we're not calling things for what they are. We see the Islamists' threat. We see what they're capable of doing. And when I say CIA, FBI, Homeland Security, other intelligence services in the West, most democracies in the West, they know the ideological dimension that motivates terrorists and terrorist attacks. But we prefer not to talk about it because it's Islamophobic, or because it's controversial, or we may offend the Muslims. So now we're submitting to their intimidation when we don't talk about it, when we don't challenge it, that this is not acceptable. You know, it's not acceptable. Life depends on diversity, and the different is appreciated. You know, yes, we should have human discipline because we are not animals, but also we don't want someone acting as a sword of God, because then everybody would think that they have this authority, and the only outcome is bloodshed. We have the Muslims who live in the West, and I think there is no problem with that in principle, but don't enforce your religious identity, and when they do, we have to counter it. Like, for example, we cannot separate church and state and allow mosque and state to be united. We cannot just stay asleep while watching the Islamic hubs produce more extremists. And today, you know, we have so many Islamic fanatics who actually preach through social media, through YouTube, and they are based in London, they're based in Paris, and they don't only advocate for a peaceful Islam, actually they are just preaching very dangerous, radical ideologies, the Muslim Brotherhood ideologies that is anti-West, that is anti-civilization, that is representing the 7th century mentality as an alternative to the modern world. And they are protected by the freedom of speech. But there has to be a limit to where you can preach such sick ideology. And I think most of the leaders are afraid. whether they are ignorant of the topic or they have short-term interest and they don't want to compromise this interest. They don't want to offend Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia or like Qatar. They have their own calculations, but in the meantime, we cannot hide from the challenge because Islamists are in the West and they are waiting for an angry cause. And this is the dangerous thing about the Palestine. This is why one of the reasons that I came back and I came very strong against the pro-Palestine, because it's not about Palestine. There is no such a thing as Palestine. It's anti-West, and it's looking for an angry cause. Yeah. And the more anger they are able to generate, they're creating the climate for those individuals who have been waiting to act. So I don't want to say, what are we waiting for? Like another major terrorist attack? You know, then we are going to understand that we have an enemy within. I hope we don't get to that point. But let me tell you something. From my personal experience, when they start first shouting from the river to the sea, calling for Jewish genocide, it was no time before chaos. And it became suicide bombing attacks, became stabbings, it became mass shootings, it became, everywhere became a target. And Palestine is chaos. Islam is chaos. And of course, this is very hard to say, but I hope that we don't get to the point to see the things going completely out of control, to realize that we have individuals among us that we really need to leash, you know, that they cannot take advantage of the freedom. There is a limit. You know, you cannot advocate on behalf of terrorists and terrorist ideology by the name of freedom of speech. It's not acceptable.
You can't use freedom in a society to shut down freedom.
Yeah, absolutely, but because it's very hard to draw the line, and many people take advantage of this. Take for example, after 9/11, Muslims went into the hiding for almost a decade or more than this. They just hiding their identity, and after October 7, it was just next day they start demonstrating against Israel and against the West.
In New York, in London, in Paris, everywhere.
Within a week, they showed so much aggression. And again, this is the bloodlust that I told you about, which is very strange. You look 9/11 and you look October 7, and what's after? Totally different outcomes. So why all this? You know, and this hatred against the Jews that is attracting actually many Westerners who might have something in common, that they are all anti-Semites. And this is what's bringing the Islamists and the communists and could be the socialists even to work together. They have something in common, and that is their hatred towards Israel. But what many Westerners are not understanding, that this is not only anti-Israel, it's anti-success and it's anti-civilization. It's pro-chaos. This type of individuals and this type of movements, they thrive in chaos. They don't like order. In order, they die. And this is why they want to see more of the chaos.
Mosab, Hassan, Yousef, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. If you noticed while the video was ongoing, I had to grab my pen because I didn't want to disrupt the video. I didn't want to pause, you know. I didn't also want to talk over it because I wanted everyone to hear, and I wanted everyone to hear it clearly. Okay, I wrote down some things, and as usual, you guys, please be respectful in the comment section. These are things that I say we should be able to discuss on the channel. All right. And the question he asked, the question Douglas asked, he said, what does it take for the West to wake up to this reality? That's the very that's one of the main questions he asked in here. And if you can also leave, your own thought and your own answer in the comment section. And another thing this man talked about was when he said, I think one of the challenges, being faced is when you enforce your religious identity on others. I just remembered yesterday, I saw a lot of this in the comment section. When this man talked about, not enforcing your religious identity on others, it made me remember some comments I saw yesterday, right? And some people were saying that if you do not want to change, why are you coming here? If I am, rephrasing all of the similar comments I saw concerning this matter, they're like, it does not make sense why you would come here and not want to act accordingly and not want to follow, the things that were here. You don't want to follow the rules. You want to do. So someone even said, if you want to act that same way, stay wherever you are and don't come here. Because if you come here, you you guys, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? As usual, the video starts in the comment section as usual. So let's talk about this because it's more or less always looking like, like the man said, just waiting for an angry cause, just waiting for that little, and there you have it. That is it. That is. Do you understand? So, you guys, what do you think? What do you think about this issue? You know what? Because from all what we've been discussing this past few weeks, from all the videos we've seen, it's like you're coming here, you don't want to change. What do you expect? So let me also know your thoughts in the comment section. And I'll see you in the next video.